A philosophy out to destroy man's mind is necessarily a philosophy of hatred for man, for man's life, and for every human value. Hatred of the good for being good is the hallmark of the 20th century. This is the enemy you are facing. A battle of this kind requires special weapons. It has to be fought with a full understanding of your cause, a full confidence in yourself, and the fullest certainty of the moral rightness of both. Only philosophy can provide you with these weapons. The assignment I gave myself for tonight is not to sell you on my philosophy, but on philosophy as such. I have, however, been speaking implicitly of my philosophy in every sentence, since none of us and no statement can escape from philosophical premises. What is my selfish interest in the matter? I am confident enough to think that if you accept the importance of philosophy and the task of examining it critically, it is my philosophy that you will come to accept. Formally, I call it objectivism, but informally, I call it a philosophy for living on earth. You will find an explicit presentation of it in my books, particularly in Atlas Shrugged. In conclusion, allow me to speak in personal terms. This evening means a great deal to me. I feel deeply honored by the opportunity to address you. I can say, not as a patriotic bromide, but with full knowledge of the necessary metaphysical, epistemological, ethical, political, and aesthetic rules, that the United States of America is the greatest, the noblest, and in its original founding principles, the only moral country in the history of the world. There is a kind of quiet radiance associated in my mind with the name West Point, because you have preserved the spirit of those original founding principles, and you are their symbol. There were contradictions and omissions in those principles, and there may be in yours, but I am speaking of the essentials. There may be individuals in your history who did not live up to your highest standards, as there are in every institution, since no institution and no social system can guarantee the automatic perfection of all its members. This depends on an individual's free will. I am speaking of your standards. You have preserved three qualities of character which were typical at the time of America's birth, but are virtually non-existent today: earnestness, dedication, a sense of honor. Honor is self-esteem made visible in action. You have chosen to risk your lives for defense of this country. I will not insult you by saying that you are dedicated to selfless service. It is not a virtue in my morality. In my morality, the defense of one's country means that a man is personally unwilling to live as the conquered slave of any enemy, foreign or domestic. This is an enormous virtue. Some of you may not be consciously aware of it. I want to help you to realize it. The army of a free country has a great responsibility. The right to use force, but not as an instrument of compulsion and brute conquest, as the armies of other countries have done in their histories, only as an instrument of a free nation's self-defense, which means the defense of man's individual rights. The principle of using force only in retaliation against those who initiate its use is the principle of subordinating might to right. The highest integrity and sense of honor are required for such a task. No other army in the world has achieved it. You have. West Point has given America a long line of heroes, known and unknown. You, this year's graduates, have a glorious tradition to carry on, which I admire profoundly, not because it is a tradition, but because it is glorious. Since I came from a country guilty of the worst tyranny on earth, I am particularly able to appreciate the meaning, the greatness, and the supreme value of that which you are defending. So, in my own name, and in the name of many people who think as I do, I want to say to all the men of West Point, past, present, and future, thank you.